As the reality of the ultimate sacrifice hits so close to home.
At our house, he is the villain.
Sometimes you just gotta use the right thing.
Hey everybody, and welcome to That Voiceover Podcast, the show for and about the voiceover profession. I'm Stephen Cox. My guest, Stephanie Ciccarelli, is the co-founder, along with her husband David, of Voices.com. In addition to providing an online community for voiceover actors with blogs and podcasts, they also host a paid service that connects voiceover actors with clients. They have been nominated for and have received numerous awards for their work in their native Canada, and it is my pleasure to welcome Stephanie Ciccarelli to the show. Stephanie, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me here, Stephen. It's a wonderful day to be talking to you on this podcast, and I can't wait to get started.
Well, now, before we start talking about Voices.com, let's talk about you a little bit. You trained as a musician, so how did you get into voiceover?
Well, I personally didn't do voiceover myself. As you say, I come from a music background. I have a Bachelor of Musical Arts from the University of Western Ontario, and my instrument happened to be voice. Now, I had been singing all my life, so, this wasn't a surprise to go in and major in voice. But when you're in your first year of university and you realize, my goodness, I'm going to need a demo. I need to promote myself with something. I discovered that I'd have to go and make one of those. I didn't know how to do that. So what do? Well, you go to a recording studio.
Right.
So anyway, this is how I met my husband, David. Now, David owned a recording studio, and he happened to be, the owner, engineer, did just about everything. And so when I met him, I was meeting the guy. And anyway, to keep things short, here we worked together, and then later realized, well, why don't we just start dating and make a life together? So that's how that started. But,
that's very sweet.
Just a little bit of background there. So, as you know, I am a voice major myself, and my husband also had a degree in audio engineering, so that's his background. He went to a school called the Ontario Institute of Audio Recording Technology. That's here in London, Ontario. But to get right to the bit about what you asked about, the doing voiceover part, there was, I guess, a brief period of time where we did experiment with it. Not because it was something we sought out ourselves, but because he ran a recording studio and people would have us do, like little sound logos, those little jingles that you hear before, like for a company name without any words, that kind of thing. We're doing that. But then, someone would say, wait a minute, can you record our voicemail? Can you do a local commercial? And we did a few of these, and we just found that for us personally, although we could do it, it wasn't where our passion lied. Like, we weren't really into the doing of the work, but what we liked to do was to help other people get work. And actually, when I was in the university, one of my roles on the Faculty of Music Students Council was the Gigs Commissioner. And as Gigs Commissioner, I would connect people, refer them on to different people within our city and the university itself. Maybe some corporations are looking for musicians to play at functions. So I would refer, a few string quartets, maybe some vocalists for a wedding. Anyway, this isn't my background, and so as we're turning our wheels and thinking, well, what can we do? We don't want to do this work ourselves. We have, really good search engine rankings, and we're showing up for all these keywords. This is why a bunch of voiceover talent came and said, can we be on your website? Can we be? Okay, sure. We didn't see any harm in it because we weren't doing the work ourselves, and we were happy to let them do it. But then when you start getting more like 5, 10, more than that, more people than that, you wonder, well, what can we do that will not only help our business, but also help them? And this is where the whole concept of having a marketplace came from, and so that we could help those people to get work, and we could also, in turn, because we're serving them in our own way, make a go of it in this industry as well.
Okay, now I want you to walk us through how Voices.com works if you're a voice actor and you're looking for work. Just sort of walk us through how somebody gets involved with the site.
Okay, well, first of all, I guess you would have found the website, and either you did that because you were looking through maybe a search engine online, maybe you Googled voiceovers or voice acting, and you saw one of our organic search results in Google. Now, those are the search results that are there kind of because you've earned a place, and it's viewed as more authoritative, those links. And then on the other side,
you do have the perfect domain name for it, Voices.com. That's right to the chase.
Yeah, and that was a really bright move on our part, I would say. With all humility, it was probably the most important decision of that nature that had been made. It was a branding decision, and we did acquire that domain name in 2006. Prior to that, we were interactivevoices.com, and some of you who are listening may have been familiar with that. That was 2004 was when we first started working as a marketplace and serving voiceover talent. It was actually February 2004, if we want to get really specific. And, in 2006, in September, that's when the transition happened from, being interactivevoices.com to voices.com. And I think everyone loved that because not only was it a stronger name, they also didn't have to type interactive ever again. So I think that it saved their fingers. But
it's a lot more keystrokes,
also,
yeah. So somebody goes to voices.com and they want to look for potential work on your site. How do they go about that?
Okay, well, as we say, you found us somehow, whether it be through the search engine, maybe you were referred by somebody, and maybe you just knew, voices.com. You saw our blog somewhere or something. What you would do is go to the website and you would click on something called, there's a tab. I'm not in front of my own website right now, but there is a button that relates to finding work, okay? So you would click on that, and it would bring up a video, which has been narrated actually by me, and you'll see the different, what happens when you join voices.com. It leads you through the whole process. It's more from a client perspective, someone who's hiring, but you get to see what they see, and you also get to see what the different membership levels are for voices.com. Now, if you're getting started in the industry and you're just kind of, wondering, is this for me, or I'm not full-time, I'm not even, or part-time even, maybe I'm just dipping my toes in here. Well, what you would do is you would get a guest account. This is a free account, and essentially what it does is it allows you to build a profile on voices.com to put up a couple demos. There's 5 megabytes of storage there for you. You can also outline your previous experience, the languages you speak. Maybe you speak a couple of different languages. Perhaps you know how to do some accents, that kind of thing. You would outline all of those different criteria that are in the form, and then once you save those changes, you can have your own profile on voices.com, and it'll show up in our search engine so long as you have a demo. Now, that's a free one, and
right.
With the free one, it's just pretty basic. All you get to do is have really a profile and be found in the search results in the directory. But as you had suggested earlier, there's, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so there is there's the free option, and then you also charge yearly rates up to $300. And I'm wondering, for somebody who is just getting started, with the free option, what is the percentage of people who actually book using the free option? Do you know what that is?
Well, you know what? It's difficult to give any kind of statistic that pertains to someone booking off the website, only because, you could be contacted directly by a client if a talent has put their own URL for a different website within their profile, or put their display their contact information, such as their phone number. People are often called directly, and sometimes we can't track the communications after someone has chosen to email, leave the website, or pick up the phone. So in that regard, I can't give you a firm statistic, but what I can tell you is that a lot of people are contacted, found through the search engine, and then they get a job from voices.com as a guest, and like, wow, if I can get a job and I'm not paying them anything to promote myself, if I can still be found and hired and get a really good paying job through voices.com when I'm not even paying them, imagine what would happen if I just, subscribed and tried that, and the floodgates just open, because not only are you, higher up in the search engines, able to feature more demos and to have more visibility for the site, you're also able to go after opportunities, which is different. A guest cannot audition unless they are invited to by a client, and in order to be invited, you have to be found. So, and it's hard because the guests are at the bottom of the search engine, and you're only there if you have a demo. Right.
So ultimately, in order to actually get some action on voices.com, you really do have to pay in. And I want to ask you, obviously, the traditional way of booking voiceover is changing with technology. Everybody, pretty much any place, if you have access to, Pro Tools and a computer, you can do voiceover. But it seems to me that actors are generally the people who can least afford a fee. You also charge clients on your site. Why not just charge the clients and not the actors?
Well, that's a good question, and I'll give you the answer. Now, if you were posting a wanted ad or something in the newspaper to promote yourself or any business, posting an advertisement in the local paper, online, anywhere else, it's always the advertiser, the person who is seeking to get business, who pays to promote themselves. Now, if I am coming to somewhere and I see your ad and I'm the buyer, then, I buy something and I pay you only upon getting the value received. Now, similarly, when we have two different customer sets at Voices.com. We have the service provider, which is the voiceover talent. These are the advertisers. And then we have the buyers, who are the companies in need of voiceover.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
When, if you're promoting yourself and you want to rank up higher in the search engine, and if you want to get access to opportunities that are basically exclusive to Voices.com, so to speak, most of them are, then what you're going to be doing is paying for opportunity to get your name out. We never, ever want people to think of this paying for auditions. You're not paying for auditions.
But you are paying for, but you're paying for access to those auditions.
Well, you are, but really, at the end of the day, you're paying for a promotional opportunity, right? Okay, so when you have a client, you say, well, why don't you just charge a client? Well, this is what happens. When the client comes to the website, they don't want to pay anything up front until they get what they want. And as a customer, like if you walk into the grocery store, you're certainly not expecting somebody to say, give me a $50 deposit upon coming into the grocery store because we want you to buy something from us now. But what you do is you go out and you get all this stuff in your cart, you walk up to the till, and then they bill you once you have bought your products, right? Same thing here, because they are only going to buy something, be happy, once they have the final product and can approve that product. And so what we do is we have a safe payment service, escrow service. So when a client comes to the website, instead of paying a fee without knowing if they're actually going to get what they want, because that's what customers want. You always want to please the customer. So if they are not sure about what they want, they will not pay for anything because there is nothing in it for them as of yet. But once they post their job, and then the voice talent reply, and they come back with their quotes within the budget range, and they decide, I want to move ahead with so-and-so, and they award that job. What they are then required to do is to put a deposit in with their credit card, and we hold that money, right? The money is being held, so the client knows this is being held, and the talent knows, oh my goodness, there's actually money there. Because when you work online, you are never guaranteed payment, ever. So, that's what we do to protect the talent, but we also do it because this is how we make money from our clients. We're providing a service to them. They do not want to pay us until they have actually, gotten what they want.
And that is one of the things, that is one of the services that you do provide, which is to guarantee that money changes hands. And so you had said earlier that you're not always sure when somebody might book something offline, et cetera, logged in as a guest. It seems like you're very certain in terms of who books what because you control that interaction, correct?
Yes, pretty much. Obviously some people choose not to use it, and some people have been burned as a result. They've said, this is the one time I didn't use SurePay, and my goodness, do I ever wish I did, because it's the one time I've ever been ripped off by a client.
I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about union affiliation because a large percentage of voice actors used to be almost the majority of voice actors were union affiliated, and now that has shifted, of course, with new technology. Do union people get jobs with Voices.com often?
All the time.
Now, do they charge union rates to get the to get the jobs?
Do they charge union rates to get the job? I would assume they do, because if they don't, they have to take that up with their union.
Right.
So, but you know what? If you look at, there's a list on our own page, and it has the recently hired voiceover talent. These are the payments we track. Remember, these are the ones that go to escrow. These are the ones we know about. Okay, so if you were to look down that list and you were to click through the profiles of those talent, I would not be surprised to see SAG. I would not be surprised to see ACTRA or Equity or any other union affiliation or guild as part of someone's profile. There is work being done by union talent. How they're billing for it is, how they're billing for it. Obviously, we're not signatories, so we're not in that part of the industry. But what I do know is that union talent are booking all the time. Another way to see, kind of what's going on and who's working is to visit our Buzz blog. This is you can get there via our community section. And essentially what the Buzz blog does is it presents you with a variety of success stories from our customers. And now these might be from people who did go through SurePay, and maybe there's another record of that in the feedback, star ratings, and so forth. But we don't want to leave anyone out who's booked. If they want to tell us we got work and we're so excited, but the client didn't use SurePay, or I directed them away for whatever reason, or, they wanted to be billed differently, what have you, we will also publish those success stories on our Buzz blog. So it's another way to see what kind of work is going on. And we also have a feature sometimes on the blog that's called Who Got the Gig? And at those point in times, we invite people to come forward and say what they've done. It doesn't necessarily have to be through our website, but what we want to do is celebrate the fact that people are booking. And if they want to say where they got it, then that's perfectly fine. And if not, then that's fine too. Now, what you need to remember also is that there are a number of jobs that come through with non-disclosure agreements, and talents are not allowed to talk about them. And oftentimes NDAs don't go through SurePay because they don't want to involve people. But there have been jobs where people have been paid over $24,000 to record.
That sounds like a great success story, and it seems like you and David have both been very successful in sort of creating a new niche in this opening marketplace, and I do want to congratulate you on that. I also want to mention, just by way of plugging this for you, you're the author of the Podcasting ebook, Your Complete Guide to Podcasting, also the Definitive Guide to Voiceover Success, and the Voiceover Script Collection, which can come in very handy when you're trying to put together a demo, and each of which you will find a link to on our webpage, thatvoiceoverpodcast.com. But Stephanie, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Well, thank you very much, Stephen. I enjoyed myself. And if your listeners would like to write into me, they can too. I'm sure you know probably how to find me, but if not, you can search on Facebook, or we do have a group on Facebook for voices.com, and you can find us there too.
That Voiceover Podcast is a co-production of Half Full and Get Creative Inc. For more information, go to thatvoiceoverpodcast.com or check us out on iTunes. Thanks for listening. I'm Stephen Cox.